We are rolling. Very good. Welcome. Anthony Fain to Beyond Bars.
Anthony Fain, cue the applause. We got Anthony Fain up in the studio. It's lit.
Anthony
the
Fain.
One, the only, the man, the myth, the legend.
Oh,
Thanks for having me.
Of course. We're so happy you're here, and I am happy to learn a lot about you because you and Kyrie know each other.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
And how do y'all know each other?
We worked at the same place of employment for a little while.
Okay.
That's when I met him.
Okay.
Yeah, and we connected, became friends. Talked about a few different business ideas. Talked about this type of thing.
All right. Well, here we are then. Here we are doing it.
And I'm gonna embellish it. So I was picked. Fain was picked. We were handpicked by a gentleman who was from the west side of Chicago, and he was looking for people who was involved in the community that just had skin in the game and was making change. And he was getting together a team that was going to be working on the violence intervention and prevention services in North Lawndale. And I was doing some stuff already. That brother was doing some amazing stuff, and we both got recruited, and we got the opportunity to work with bigger organizations, you know what I'm saying, bigger budgets and impact even more people.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you elaborated because a place of employment. I know
it was very vague.
That was shady shit.
Well, I thought we were gonna get to that question down here.
We will. No, I assumed maybe something like that, but didn't want to. I would love to know what interested you then in coming on the pod. Let's let people know a little bit. Tell us a little bit about who you are and why you're here. Why you might want to be here, and then we'll get into more fun stuff too.
Okay. Well, of course, my name is Anthony Fain. What interests me in coming here is Kyrie called for me. Anytime he called, I'm gonna come, because I know it's gonna be something positive and something for the betterment of not just me and him, but for other people as well.
In his last episode, Kyrie said people have been calling him Batman.
I wasn't aware of that.
That's the comedian side.
I was looking for a vouch, but
see, you gotta ask the comedians. I'm doing the work with Fain. Fain can tell you, I don't always bring up the fact I'm a comedian. I don't know.
Yeah, it's not always appropriate or obvious.
Right. I hope it's obvious. I pray to God it's obvious.
I'll speak for myself. Okay, cool. So Kyrie asked you to come on. We're so happy that you're here. And you're doing some justice impact work now as well, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. What are you involved in today?
You can speak more on what you do versus who you do it for, or who you do it with.
Yeah, no, I'm curious about you.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have a problem with it. Well, right now the most important thing in my life is my son. I have a son that's 4. He'll be 5 in April. And so
what's his name?
Look, his name is Anthony Fain Jr.
Anthony Fain Jr.
Yes, ma'am.
AJ.
Yeah, he's
how I added that extra AFJ. What is that?
Yeah, so I got 2 full-time jobs. My full-time job and then my son. I work for UCAN, which we work for READY, the READY program. And READY stands for Rapid Employment and Development Initiative. And we deal with young men between the ages of 18 and 36 is at the highest risk of shooting or being shot, or just young men that's, having issues and difficulty with recidivism. And we basically helped them. I've been helping these men get better paying jobs than me.
Dog. Speak on it.
But I'm happy to do that. I believe that God has me in a place where I'm supposed to be right now. And so that's one of the things that I do. I'm writing a book. The name of my book is Unconscious for 30 Years. Not that I was laying in a bed unconscious for 30 years, but I was walking around unconscious because the many things that I did to jeopardize my life and my freedom, I was basically walking around unconscious until God transformed my life. And so now I'm on a different path. But yeah, I'm in the 22nd chapter. I've already paid for all the publishing, editing, and everything. They're just waiting on me to finish the manuscript. And I really want to do my book signing by my birthday, but I'm not sure if they'll be through publishing and editing and all of that. But my intention to complete the book this year.
Well, kudos to that. Fuck yeah, right now.
And the name of it is Unconscious for 30 Years. But it's basically about my life story. Everything that I dealt with from, an adolescent, teenager to adult. I was subjected to physical abuse in the home that I was in. And I ran away from my mother's home when I was 8 years old. And that's how I got in the streets. That's how I got in the gang. And, because it was the gang that took me in and took care of me. So I'm really interested in doing anything that Kyrie called me out to do when it comes to helping others, because I believe that God put us here to help each other instead of harm each other. And so I see young men that's struggling the way I struggled when I was unconscious. And I just want to kind of inspire them and encourage them and, be adamant about, making them realize that life has much more to offer them than the gang or the street corner, and that their life is more valuable than any of the nonsense that's, going on in their life right now.
Yeah, hell yeah. I mean, that's fantastic, obviously, work that you do. We both do related work. I think, you're very familiar with what Kyrie does. I don't know if you're familiar with my work and related to the justice system, but we as Prison Yoga Chicago teach yoga in county to a variety of divisions. And tiers right now, we've been asked to come in through various state prisons and federal prisons as well. So we're working on expansion. But just so you know me a little bit as part of this conversation, in case that didn't get filtered through somewhere. And I know we sent you a list of potential sort of questions that we might talk about, but just as a little bit caveat too, 30 years is a long time, and we know that this stuff is really intense, and you already mentioned some of the things that we'll probably get into, but even just because we put those out there, the more you're happy to speak to, we're happy to hear, and listeners will be happy to hear. But if we get to a point that you're I don't really fucking feel like answering that question for one reason or another, just we'll move on.
Okay.
So let me say that, because I am curious immediately. I'm gonna put that out there because I have an immediate follow-up question.
It's so much that I don't mind sharing, because if you purchase my book or you read my book, you're going to hear it all anyway.
Okay, cool.
And we're going to have to bring you back after the book drop,
yeah,
too.
For sure.
So after you do your signing, I hope we're part of your media run that you do.
Yeah.
You can pull it up.
When people care about this.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Before Oprah pick it up, we picking it up first. Okay. So Oprah going to have to bite us, and then I'll do my Cat Williams interview about how Oprah stole you from us.
Yeah, and so one of the other things, I facilitate a cognitive behavior therapy class inside of Cook County Jail, Division 11.
Oh, sorry, that's my lead class too. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and those age group is from 18 to 24.
Okay.
And we facilitate the cognitive behavior therapy classes, and I give them celebratory parties if they behave and don't be gang banging and fighting and acting crazy, because they have you may be aware they have a culinary arts inside of the Division 11.
I actually just learned this. I just found this out because I think Block Club did a piece on it, which I thought was interesting.
Is that the PISA program?
Yeah. Because Division 11 is my class, and I didn't know about that on the inside. But
and so that's what every now and then we let them order their own personal piece of whatever toppings they want on it, and we pay for it. And they also get paid $35 a session for participating in the class. I think it's very imperative to try to deal with these young men on the development side before they're released from jail. A lot of people try to work on their life after they get out of jail, but that never worked for me. I had to start working on myself before I left jail. And I also volunteer for Black Men United. I'm not sure if you all aware of Black Men United, but I volunteer.
Put us on game, because I got stuff in the crib right now from Black Men United. I'm a black man. I be happy every time y'all do an event.
Well, I don't, so tell us a little about it.
Kathy, we got to get you at the next event.
Yes.
Walk around wearing a shirt. I'm sure people will love that.
Well, Black Men United, of course, is it's a message to everyone, but especially to Black people that we should be united instead of against each other, hating each other, killing each other. We should be united as black men. And so they do a lot of events where they give away furniture, appliances, bicycles, boats, all types of stuff, food. We go to I don't like to call what else could you call it? They call it an old folks home, but
senior citizen?
Senior citizen.
Yeah, assisted living. Yeah.
We go to a couple of those and we pass out, food, steaks, salmon.
The fast stuff, the pickles, good stuff.
Everything. And roses and flowers.
That's very sweet.
And if y'all are watching this, lock in, Black Men United. We think we just ran up in a super Walmart. I'm talking about people got chickens under their arms, rotisserie stuff under this. Bev had a fireplace. I was like, how did y'all get this to give away a fireplace? Yeah. I'm talking about. I have a really long dining room type. My cousin got a sectional. Them giveaways is nice,
and it's all free for the community.
That rocks. Kyrie and I were talking a little about doing some intro stuff earlier before you got here, and just the type of work that we're all involved in, and obviously what kind of leads us there, right? So I feel like we're already kind of doing a thing of, I feel like, addressing some of this stuff in reverse, and the things that we're curious about, right? So you're doing some pretty incredible work in the community. You've written a book. We're going to be back to discuss it again. I am curious about this is year, 35? How long would you say, first of all, has it been since you've been conscious?
Well, this June, it would be 10 years that I've been home, the longest ever. I was a person that was
we'll do that.
In and out of jail. I wouldn't last a week sometimes, and we would be right back locked up. I never lasted a year. I never walked parole.
For 30 years?
Yeah, each time.
Jesus.
Yeah, because I started going in and out of juvenile correctional facilities when I was 11 and 12. And so ever since then, my life was kind of in a downward spiral. And so, to answer your question, if I've been home 10 years, I did 7 years straight the last time.
Okay.
And so it was
Where?
It was in the beginning, several places. It started, I did 2 years in the Cook County Jail, 2 years in Pinckneyville, 2 years in Illinois River, and the last 9 months in Jacksonville. And I had just made a conscious decision because that was the most time I had ever done at one time. And when the judge, I got found guilty on one case and was given 12 years, and then I pleaded guilty on the other one, was given 14 years. And so I had to do 7 years straight. And in the beginning stages, I was in a real bad space. I was very depressed, and that wasn't something I was normal to, because jail didn't used to affect me like that. I would just blend in and continue to go on.
So you were comfortable for a while.
Yeah, but this last time it was man, is this what you want to keep doing for the rest of your life, in and out of jail, or until you get a 900 years sentence or something, or until you do something that someone murders you at an untimely, death. And so I started working on myself then. I fell away from the gang.
This was inside.
Yeah. I wouldn't let people call me by a gang name anymore. I wouldn't shake their hands and throw up gang signals no more. I was like, I'm too old for that, And so I realized that I was the biggest problem. I was in my own way. I couldn't blame the white man. I couldn't blame the police for planting drugs on me or planting cases on me, even though they did do that before. I was my own worst danger. And so when I realized that, and I said that I needed to change that, because one would think that it was my heroin and cocaine addiction that was my problem, but it was my whole way of thinking. I had to rewrite my whole brain in the way that I thought. And so, I say I've been conscious now probably about 15 years.
Well, good. Yeah, fuck yeah. Good on you for that. I mean, think whatever people's definition of conscious is and like self-aware, we were talking about that a little bit earlier, and just like connected. Do you feel like that coincided? You mentioned God a few times. Do you feel like that coincided with like some kind of religious connection or spiritual moment, or was there just like a decision and then that kind of co-aligns with like moral godlike values and movements?
No, you know what? I just I know that God he's covered me. I've been through a lot.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been through a lot, and I know that I would be dead right now if God hadn't saved me and transformed my life. Right now, I witness so many of my friends that still struggle with the heroin addiction, and they're dying from fentanyl. Like, they're just dropping off like flies. Thanksgiving that just passed, between the month of November up until New Year's, I lost 4 friends from fentanyl and 3 young friends from gun violence.
In this holiday season?
Yes, they just passed. Yeah.
And you mentioned that you obviously have had experience with both, and sounds like you said addiction as well.
Yeah.
Was that early also in your,
Yes, I was actually smoking cocaine, snorting heroin, drinking syrup, and taking pills, and smoking PCP, all when I was 12 years old. And all at the same time. Like, it wasn't like I was doing this drug for some months and then stopped doing that and started doing it. I was just doing everything. So you can imagine why I was unconscious, right?
Yeah, I mean, literally.
Yeah, like literally the brain is still developed. You still developing your brain. You still developing your idea of what society is, what you are, what's normal, what's not normal. So, you know what I'm saying, as people in the community that are doing the work, we understand the type of stuff that set us up, Yeah. Looking back, we were like, yo, that was one of the things right there. And like, when you look back in that beginning of those first 30 years, what do you think was a moment when you like, aha? Like, even though I didn't know that then, looking back with the mind that I have now consciously, I realized that was a pivotal moment that, you talk about that downward spiral. And it's a couple moments where we could have got off, but we kept on going. What do you think was a moment for you personally where you was like, damn, I probably should have got off, but I kept on going? I know, Fain. I know, but the people don't know.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something. The police had actually planted some drugs on me, and
is this your first engagement with the police or with the legal system?
No.
Okay.
No.
This is just one of those moments. Okay.
Yeah, and I don't know if to try to answer your question is that it just kept happening. The lawyer told me, he said, I can tell you right now that Judge Fox is not going to take your witness word over the police officer's word. He said, I can tell you right now that Judge Fox is going to convict you in a New York minute. And so I was like, wow, are you trying to convince me to plead guilty?
This is your lawyer.
Yeah. Are you trying to convince me to plead guilty? He was like, no. I said, well, you can't tell me what's going to be on Judge Fox's mind and heart that day. You can't tell me what God going to place on his heart. I want to go to trial. I don't want to plead. I don't want to stand in court and lie on myself and say that these were my drugs when they weren't. Yeah, I know I got a bad background and I'm a crook, a scoundrel, but today these officers are crooks. They planted drugs on me. And so to answer your question, Judge Fox told me, he said, Anthony Fain, he said, after having a superb witness, he said, you took the stand and trying to be Mr. Magnificent. He said, I don't know what possessed you to take the stand. He said, I don't know why your attorney allowed you to take the stand. He said, you got 8 felony convictions. I don't believe a word that comes out of your mouth. Your testimony is demolished with me. He said, maybe more times than I see, the police do plant drugs on people. He said, I don't know if police lying, you lying. He said, but I believe your witness. She didn't stutter. She didn't hesitate. She answered every question. He said, so it's not because of anything that you or your attorney said that I find the defendant not guilty.
Right. God got the final say so.
So it wasn't a lot of pivotal moments when I was looking back like I should have got off. I kind of like thought I was going to die in the streets, from the type of lifestyle I lived.
Yeah.
Because I was an armed robber. And I robbed drug dealers. So I didn't rob everyday people that go to work.
You robbed the robbers.
I robbed drug dealers, and it was a very dangerous occupation.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember one day I was talking to
Is there
Fain.
a more dangerous occupation?
This is actually not a least. There's no one less dangerous to rob, actually. One day I was talking to Fain, and he was like, man, I saw somebody that I robbed back in the day, and I was like, oh, shit, we good. He was like, no, he was just happy I changed my life around. I was like, you got people you robbed after you changed your life around.
Yeah.
So had he too? Had he changed his life around, or he was just happy to see you good?
I'm not sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But still looking out.
Yeah, well, I have. That's one thing that I can say that I have had that support. I would like to say I believe most of my enemies are either dead or in jail or they've forgiven me, right? And so it's a lot of people that's happy that I changed my life around. And the most important one, the thing that keeps me striving is my mother, because I didn't think that she would see my change before either one of us parted. And for me to see the smile on her face today, that keeps me striving.
How did? So you mentioned, a pretty troubled childhood and pretty troubled adolescence. Yeah. How did that kind of like start, and how was that dynamic managed with your mother through that? I'm sure that was obviously very hard on her, but we're kind of talking about you. Like, what was your experience like?
I was angry at the world. I was angry at the world because of the physical abuse that I was subjected to in the home. And then I was very, very upset with Dr. Martin Luther King. I think I understand better now because I'm more mature, but I still don't think I could march with Dr. Martin Luther King and you telling me to let somebody slap me or hit me or sick a dog on me or knock me down with a water. To tell you the truth of the matter, I couldn't even march with Jesus with turn the other cheek.
Yeah.
That's just not who I am. I can't do it.
Because you thought the way that he was approaching it was sort of like pacifism and acceptance and that kind of.
Yeah, well, I couldn't agree with nobody spitting in my face.
Oh yeah.
And I understand his message and I understand his plight. I just would have had to support him from afar.
But at that young of an age, you were able to look at what he was doing and saying, I don't agree with this and it's not enough.
I hated it so much because it seemed like they showed it to us every day in school. In my grammar school, they just kept showing us images and pictures of dogs being sucked and getting beaten, all the crazy stuff that was going on back then. And I started hating white people. And I started beating up all the white people in my school. And they weren't even white. They were Latino.
Oh, man. I'm happy that we can create a safe space where this brother can admit that at one point he was beating up white passing Latinos. We at the Beyond the Bars do not currently beat up white passing Latinos or support it, but this is his brother's narrative.
Somebody is a comedy show. So I'm like, what are you? We gotta know. We got Fain in the back.
Yeah.
We got Fain in the back.
And then so I was kicked out of elementary school because I hit my third grade teacher with a chair upside her head.
She was white? Or
no.
White
she was light skinned.
Damn, bro. You was on some type of reverse.
Yeah.
Was it racially motivated, or was it more like she was telling you something you didn't want to do?
Oh no, I was disturbed by everything that was going on. I was getting beat at home, and then I'm sitting and watching all this stuff happen to black people, and it wasn't racially motivated with her. I just was a kid that was like,
you learn violence. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And
hit her with a chair.
Yeah.
Damn, dude. Yeah, and then you said second grade, right?
Third grade.
Those chairs heavy as fuck. Was that the one that connect to the desk?
No, it was just a chair.
Shit. Okay.
Yeah, and they kicked me out and sent me to Montefiore, what they call bad boy school. Yeah. And I didn't last long there because they were also beaten there. I got into a fight, and the teacher took my head and slammed it on a porcelain sink, and I had a knot on my head like this. And then the principal would call you in the office if you got in trouble, and would have you pull your pants down and bend over while he hit you with a paddle this big. And he tell you to roll the dice, and whatever number you roll on the dice, that's how many times he hit you.
Corporal punishment.
I jumped out the second floor window.
This is at bad boy school.
Yeah,
they were.
Yeah, and I never went there again. And
second floor window.
Yeah. I don't like to be hit.
Yeah. I can tell. Second floor window. First floor is like, we don't know. It could just be a bad day. Second floor window for sure.
And where'd you go?
I just ran away.
Yeah.
I ran away from my mother's house when I was 8. And from the time I was 11 or 12, then I was going back and forth to jail. Well, we were like breaking in freights. And then I was selling drugs. And so I was just back and forth. And then when I was in jail in St. Charles, juvenile St. Charles, it was like gang banging city. Like, it's just like you got to fight. You got to fight, or you're going to get ran over. You're going to get ran through. And so there was a lot of violence there. And I wanted to escape. And so I knew that I couldn't climb the 12-foot fence with barbed wire. And I knew that even if I did escape, and I would be, that's my baby brother.
Oh, Q?
Yeah.
Oh, is he here?
Yeah. He said he at the door.
Okay.
We have a guest of a guest.
We got a guest of a guest right in the middle of recording.
Yeah. And so I knew that even if I did escape, nobody would, like, where was I going to go? I'd be stuck somewhere. Nobody was going to come, with a getaway car for me.
Yeah.
And so I played crazy. And I drove the psychiatrist crazy. And
okay. So there's so many good pieces of the story that I if you don't mind, I want to stop and ask two things.
Okay.
Because I want to hear more about that. When you said that if you escaped, you didn't really have anywhere to go. So when you were talking about sort of like gang activity in and outside, do you feel like you were more affiliated that inside? You didn't feel like you had people on the outside that like had you?
Oh, yeah, but just wasn't too many people coming to help you escape from jail.
Okay, well, yeah, I guess there's like limits to having you. Okay.
I got you on this meal, but I can't come pick you up.
Gang, but not all the way. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but so very practically, you're like, doesn't make a ton of sense to try to escape. So instead, I'm gonna play crazy.
Yeah, and I made they committed me to the mental institution, Reed Mental Health Center.
Okay.
And it was in Chicago, so I can get back home from Chicago.
You are really working the system. That's pretty brilliant, to be honest.
Yeah, and the doctor, the psychiatrist there, he was trying to pump me up with all this Thorazine. And once I seen what the Thorazine was doing to everybody else, it's like the way you see people out here high off of fentanyl right now. That's how they was now. Just we'll be walking in line, they'll just stop and drop. So I stopped taking it. I went to the med line like I was taking it, but I would always spit it out. I would never take it. And so while I was studying doing egregious things and acting crazy, he kept pumping up the value. He was like, "Damn, the medicine ain't working."
So then he had to send you to Chicago.
Yeah,
this was in Chicago.
I set the jail on fire, and
like real fire, or like you was just in that turned up and everybody what do you mean?
It was 3 of us. It was me, my good friend named Doogie, his name is Jerry Swanigan, and it was another brother named John Allison. And we all, I had been planning this for months and months. And
this is literal fire that we're talking about.
This is the grand finale.
We're not going to be able to follow this episode.
I hung the sheet up. I had the chair like I was hanging myself, and I had the newspaper all around the chair, and I set it on fire. And
okay.
You had a match?
Yeah. You could smoke back then in juvenile jail.
Oh, yeah. My mind is
how old were you at this time?
That was like in 84, so I was probably between 13 and 14, depending on if it was before May or after May.
So,
he was letting the shorty
13,
smoke square.
At 13 and 14, for the you that are following this, because I'm still trying to keep up too. 13 and 14, you convinced people inside from where you were in one facility that you were crazy, so to bring you up to Chicago, and then there you and 2 other guys set literal fire to the jail while you set up it sounds like a suicide.
Yeah.
attempt. Okay, and now keep talking.
And then you said
just wanted to recontextualize. We're at a 13.
Can smoke here as well. That's what you got to include. The kids can smoke in the facility, and that they had matches.
That's the least surprising part of this to me.
He was already in a psych ward for
But
kids.
I guess the fact that you could have,
exactly.
well, yeah, I mean, smoking is
crazy kid need his Newports. What the hell, man?
Okay, so you set up the newspapers around you, and then so. I think you're going to get to this, but my question is obviously why? So was this a plan to escape for the three of you?
No, I just see how I did so many different stunts that eventually they were going to commit me to the mental institution.
Okay.
We were in the gym one time, and the swimming pool was in the basement of the gym, so everybody was down there swimming. I came upstairs in the gym, and I climbed on the rafters, which was 25 feet up. And I was like, I'll jump. I said, I'll jump. So I said, I want to talk to the warden. They called the warden, and she was my friend. She was a beautiful sister named Miss Montgomery. And she came, and she was upset. And she was like, what the fuck you doing up there? I said, I'm jump. She said, they said you want to talk to me. I said, yeah, I do. She said, I ain't talk to you till you come down. So I came down. And she was like, come on. She's like, call your mother. I said, my mother sleeps. She said, boy, you just made me leave a whole ball. I was at a black tie event. And they talking about your crazy self. 25 feet up to my jump. Yeah, so it was just things that I kept doing that eventually he seen the medicine wasn't working.
Yeah.
And so he committed me to the mental institution.
Which is what you wanted.
Yeah. Okay. And then the other guy, John Allison, they didn't commit him. They committed me and Jerry. Well, at first they didn't commit Jerry, but while he was talking to the psychiatrist, he found out that I was going, and the doctor told him he wasn't going. And back then they don't have those little pretty staples that you see now, like they were big iron staples. And he took the staple and busted his head in about 6 places.
Oh shit!
And he said, "Okay, yeah, you going?"
Oh shit!
Yeah. And so Reed Mental Health Center.
So this was just for the both of you. Sorry, apologies to interrupt, but just because St. Charles, you guys just want to get the fuck out of there.
Yeah, but once I found out that they were sending people to Reed Mental Health Center and it was in Chicago, and you keep money in your pocket. Oh, the fence was this small.
Right.
The fence wasn't even taller than me. And so I just knew that that's what I was going to do to escape. Yeah.
That's real, dude.
We're also, I think, processing because we were just having a conversation about sort of support and resources and alternatives. And I think what a lot of people know in 2024, right, is that a lot of, I think, violence, crime, whatever we want to label it, whether it comes from, like you said, lack of sort of resources, support, family background, all those things. When we start talking about alternatives, my first thought is mental health support. Right. So you had to go through however many years of the system and actually pretend to be crazy to get the support that you should have been provided with in the first place.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, but they were just like legal dope pushers. They were just pushing the legal dope psychotropic.
So the mental health institute. So then they were just medicating.
Yeah. So it's either you self-medicate or the institutions that don't really think you human medicate you.
Right.
So I got a question because I know you to be a catalyst in the community for positivity right now, for positive change. And I know you was talking about how you wasn't with MLK. You man, Joe, I ain't with that. Right. But I know you to be a brother of a lot of love and grace that even shocks a lot of people. Because last year when you and AJ was in that situation, I'm not gonna lie to you, my phone was hot. I'll never forget. I was leading a cognitive behavioral therapy session, and they hit my phone, and this was the first time that they were scared for you to relapse into your old ways. And I was like, well, why would he do that? And they told me the situation. I was like, oh shit, we need to have a meeting. No cap, bro. We had meetings because we was like, yo, is he gonna be good to help, or is he gonna go back to the streets and get on street shit to get retaliation for somebody, trying to harm him and his? So the way you conducted yourself, bro, I mean, you can get goosebumps now. Bro, that was cold. Because you had people that was ready to, you know what I'm saying? And it's for you to be able to tell people to stand down and that it is what it is, it was like, Joe, you ain't MLK, bro, but you up there, dog. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people people who not you would have, you know what I'm saying, put a lot of people in harm's way, would have did a lot of dumb stuff.
Yeah.
But you made a good call, man. And like, I don't know, I want to commend you for that and just educate people on your process of thinking when you would have been hood-wise, street-wise, manhood-wise, anything you would have did would have been valid.
Yeah.
What made you pick the path you picked?
Well, if I allow my friends or my friendly associates to harm people that had nothing to do with it, I'm just as worse as the people that did it to me. You know, and I think I was more happy that God saved us, and so I really didn't want to concentrate on, you know, revenge or retaliation or any of that, because they I guess they called it, they was trying to carjack me, and I didn't realize what I thought it was a hit, you know. They boxed my car in, the boy stuck a gun out the window, and I said, damn, Fain, you dead. But I said to myself, if I said that and I'm still not dead, I said, damn, he not shooting. And then another boy jumped out of the back seat with a gun. And that's when I took my opportunity and I rammed their car and made some space for me to get out of there. But they shot my car. I got like 12 bullet holes in my car. They knocked the windows out. Shot me right here. Shot my son was 3 at the time. He got shot right here. And it was the most scary. I've never been under that type of pressure before, you know. And so when I seen all of the bullet holes and how close they were, I mean, I was a half a block away and they were still shooting and still hitting my car. But I know it could only have been God that moved those bullets from around me and my baby. Like, even though we got hit, you know, we didn't get seriously injured, you know. And my baby, he didn't know what happened. He didn't realize what happened because he was asleep. So I tried to, like, keep it away from him, but there's other people around that's telling him he got shot. I'm like, oh, my God. You know. Yeah.
I think to have, like Kyrie was saying, to whether it was your proclivity or not, like originally, right? We were talking a little about this before. Like, I think any adult or parent with a child, you know, would have the response to respond when their child is threatened. So I've already had, you know, the build that you did and I don't want to say like the proclivity so much as like the learned right experience to retaliate, to protect, right, to do something. Yeah, I mean, not that you need it from me or us, right? Because like you said, at the end of the day, it's like you and your connection to yourself, to God, to whatever. But that's just like unbelievably impressive.
Yeah, well, that's the one thing I can't be as a hypocrite. Like if I'm in, I'm all in. But if I'm preaching nonviolence or violence intervention, I wouldn't be able to go back and, you know, commit those same acts.
I just think that's impressive because I think we're all, like, to a degree human. I mean, and maybe I'll just speak for myself. I'm for sure a hypocrite. Like, constantly, right? Every day. And I try to be less of it every day, right? And I try to, but, like, yeah, I can be anti-violence, but I eat meat. You know, just like I think there are so many different ways that we could at least accuse each other of being hypocrites, but the only real way to do anything about that is to, like, make the decisions that you can, right? Yes. Be a little less hypocritical. And that is a lot less, you know, hypocritical, but it's a self-awareness thing, right? And a connection to like what makes me feel like less of a hypocrite, what makes me be able to like look at myself at the end of the day and then go look at a bunch of other people and say like, I'm leading you, I'm teaching you something, like am I, you know?
Yeah, and then, you know, also my life has changed so much and I'm happy with the way my life is, you know. As much as I went back and forth to jail, one would think that I liked jail, but I actually hated it every time that I was there. And so like today, I couldn't even see myself robbing anybody. I couldn't even see myself carrying a gun. And if I'm gonna retaliate against some guys that did that to me, then that means like I got to ride around every day with a gun and look for them. And you know, I ain't trying to go back to jail. I hate it, you know. And so yeah, I made a decision. I don't even feel comfortable like when other people be around me with guns.
Yeah, that's real. I got a question for you. Knowing knowing your own experiences and your stories, what do you think is something that we can either change in the judicial system right now, in the justice system, to make it more efficient, or what can happen if you was given like a Harry Potter wand, you know what I mean, and you can change anything in the in the system, whether it be federal, whether it be local, what would you change, you know?
That's a good question, and I'm not even sure I have an answer for it.
I think you got it. Like, I don't want like a very specific thing.
I have a follow up that might help contextualize it a little bit. I'm curious because some of the guys that I work with in county feel one way or the other. Like, do you think jail's necessary? Like, do you think a carceral institution is necessary, and that some people deserve to be there and some people don't?
Oh, yes, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. All those times that I went to jail, I needed to be there. Yeah, honestly.
That's a heavy level of accountability. That's a heavy level of accountability.
I needed to be there because I was gonna kill myself.
Okay.
That's I used to love cocaine so much that's all I would do. I didn't want food. I didn't want sex. I just wanted cocaine. And so that's all I did: rob, smoke cocaine, rob, smoke cocaine, rob, smoke cocaine. Yeah. So I'm happy that God took the taste out of my mouth.
Amen.
I think that's one of the hardest ones. Like from my experience, both with addicts, which is my cute way of saying addict.
But to answer your question, I don't think it's not necessarily what I could do to change. I think that people have to change.
Elaborate on that. What do you mean?
Oh man, you see all the crooked politicians?
Not where?
Crooked politicians?
Chicago?
The state of Illinois?
In the United States of America?
Yeah, I'm not gonna put nobody on blast, right? But if you watch the news, we see it all the time. And so if these are the people that's making the laws and upholding the laws, then you don't stand a chance. So people need to change, I believe, on both realms.
Okay.
It definitely would take, like, I seen one of my friends he just went back to jail, and I be looking at it like, damn man, if I didn't change, that would be me, just constantly going back and forth to jail, and he's older than me, Yeah, so it's gonna take for people to change.
I did read somewhere recently that we were talking about, the original sort of roll into the criminal system as it is today, post-slavery and rebuilding the South and needing people to work for free, and that it was set up kind of on an economic basis, right? But what I've gathered more recently is that it is even more politically leaning, right? It actually doesn't make economic sense to run the justice system the way that we do.
Right.
It actually does not allow people to return to work and thusly move the economy forward. So it is politically minded and motivated in so much as like the perception of the public around crime and criminals and safety and what politicians do to ensure that they ensure that their constituents feel safe, right? But I don't know how we...
I don't know, Fain, man. I know we got to bring you back, bro.
Yeah, I mean,
we got so many questions to ask. And
I know we were running time too.
Yeah, no, your stories are just so amazing.
Hey, I
feel so bad, Catherine. I wanted to talk about you being a chef.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, let's talk about a couple of those things real quick. Can we run like 5? Okay. Let's let's talk about it. You're a chef now, and Kyrie was telling me that you like to make some things that you picked up along the way. We'd love to hear about some of them.
Well, I seen one of the questions where you were always asking like what was going on while I was in jail.
Yeah.
And at one point, like the first time I went to adult penitentiary, I got stabbed twice in the back with an ice pick. I was in a maximum security Pontiac, and basically one of my friends was getting his butt whooped, and I tried to help him, and that's how I got stabbed. But as the years went on, later on down the line, whenever I was in jail, I wouldn't be one to stay on the deck and play cards and drink coffee and smoke cigarettes and gangbang all day. I would either have some type of job or go to school or both. And so all of my education just about I got while I was inside. I got my 8th grade diploma when I was in juvenile. I got my GED while I was an adult. I completed the college course for emergency medical technician while I was incarcerated. I actually made the dean list for horticulture. I got all A's.
For horticulture, from inside, that's...
Yes, ma'am. And I also went to culinary arts because the prison food that they serve the population is horrible.
Oh, yeah.
And so if I could go and cook my own food and cook different food, because, you know, they had, like, the good stuff over there. We was cooking for the warden, you know. His favorite dish was chicken cacciatore. And so I learned how to make that dish perfect because that's what he wanted every time he had guests.
I could just see a warden sitting around too and be like, my favorite dish is chicken cacciatore. Like,
I just gonna say act like I know what that is because I didn't know a chicken cacciatore. I just know you fried a wing. That brother said the chicken is cacciatore.
Yeah. And so I said to myself that my mother and father is up in age now. They're 80 and 90, maybe 82, 92. But I wanted to be able to cook for them in their old age so they don't have to, you know, slave in the kitchen so much. And so I wanted to learn how to cook for that reason. Then I wanted to learn how to cook for myself in case I didn't have a girlfriend or a wife, that I'd always be able to cook for myself.
Or someone like me who just won't, so.
And so that's what, you know, gained my interest to learn how to cook. And so right now I make any type of chef that you want. I started my own business called Fain Universal Salads. And whatever type of salad you want, I'll make it. If you want king crab legs on it, you want roasted lamb leg on it.
I love that you're looking directly at me too as a white woman.
Oh yeah.
I mean, act like you don't know. I'm like, where can I DoorDash it?
You just got a custom.
Like, hey, now your business gonna boom because he be putting quinoa in there, all of it.
Oh, quinoa! Wow.
You do all of the stuff.
Well, this isn't supposed to be a dirty podcast. I feel a kind of way now. So, got quinoa up in here. Okay. So,
yeah, and so I just
it's a trigger word for me. Okay.
I had started that business because I was actually working for my baby son for one of his cousins. He had like a shared kitchen, and we prepared the food and delivered it to daycare centers all over the city. And it was a couple of times that this dude, you know, I went to cash my check, and they were like, "I'm sorry, your employer has insufficient funds. We can't cash your check." And so I quit working for him, and I started my own business with cooking food. And I said to myself that I would do any type of legitimate job to keep myself from going back to the penitentiary. I even at one time worked for Christy Weber doing snow removal in the brutal cold weather, 18-hour shifts. Yeah. But I said that that's what I would do versus me robbing someone or selling drugs, you know. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you kept that promise to yourself.
In a delicious way too, because that brother for real, his salad's fire.
Anthony Fain salads, or is it salads?
I bring one for us for the next podcast.
Next time when the book drop,
we're gonna hold you to that.
Yes,
we're gonna hold you to that. We've got one more like fun question, I guess. There's something that's like slightly off topic, but slightly not. We're talking about, you know, a lot of people post, you know, whether it's incarceration or custody, do something creative, right? I think it's an outlet for people, and music happens to be one of those things that we see pretty regularly, right? So we're always just curious, like, what are you listening to? Anything you want to like put on, or like anyone you're interested in just like sharing something.
As far as music?
Yeah.
Oh,
could be also pod or two.
I listen to all type of music.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the blues. Because of course I came up on the blues, my father is a blues musician. Oh. Yeah, and so I came up around the blues, but then of course in my era, teenage era, that's when rap came about. So I love rap. I love R&B. I listen to some spiritual music, religious music, whatever. And then my brother where is he at? Oh. He's a CEO for the board.
Guess of the guest.
He's a CEO for the board.
Hey.
He has his own record label.
All right. What's your brother's name? Just so everyone can.
Quentin Addison.
Quentin
yeah.
Addison.
Yeah,
Welcome,
everybody know
Quentin,
Big
from
Q.
behind
Call
the
him Q.
camera.
Yeah.
They call him Q or Big Goo Wop.
Can I call him Big Goo-Wop?
Yes, you can. You can call him Big Goo Wop. Actually, Catherine, I need you to never call QQ. I need you to only call him Big Goo Wop every time.
So the interesting thing
Your
about
wishes.
that is that
But I want.
I'm definitely listening to a lot of his music.
Okay, Q's music.
And and
Big
he's
Goo-Wop.
gonna the book that I'm writing. We're also gonna do a movie for it, and he's gonna do the soundtrack to my.
Oh
Sick.
yeah,
Yes.
I like that.
And then before we go, I also want to tell you this. I love that you all are doing yoga inside. How could I put it? I guess at this time I was kind of like not homophobic, but in certain positions I felt uncomfortable in.
Yeah.
You know, doing yoga.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But
No,
guess
I mean,
what?
thank you for acknowledging.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but guess what?
We have that battle with people.
When I
constantly.
was in, I think I was in Danville, and they started having yoga classes.
Yes, there is some in Danville. Yeah,
Yeah, and I went because I would rather do that than be in the cell.
that's exactly why we have people show up for the first time often. Yeah.
But then it was good for my body too. It was good for my mind.
Good.
So,
I didn't
yeah.
know you did. Oh my God, we want to ask so many other questions. I didn't know you were doing
We gotta bring him
yoga.
back. This is.
Kyrie
Hey,
not prepare me. You know what he told me about you? I gotta tell you this because now I'm mad. Kyrie told me obviously many things about you that you're doing work-wise, but he also said when I said I looked you up because I did, as is my like Virgo sociopathic nature, but I looked you up to see what we were about to get into, and he asked if I saw you on Facebook because you do some fighting on Facebook, and he called it old man stuff. Actually, he said you seen his old man fighting on Facebook.
Did you see it?
see, I told you he do be fighting on Facebook.
I tried to be respectful about my stalking. I looked at your LinkedIn instead of your Facebook. I was like, that's probably like too much. You know, I don't mean be in someone's business like that. But he was doing yoga in Danville. Okay, let me ask you one question about like yoga. So you went to yoga, right? Because you didn't want to be in the cell, but it sounds like you kept going back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I went every time they had it. I went.
Yeah.
And do you feel like that was part of like any kind of process? I'm always curious, not so much for yoga, right? Like I obviously believe in yoga. I teach this. I believe it's like a body mind, you know, at the very least does a lot for your nervous system when there's not a lot of control around you, right? You can control something here.
Right.
But I'm curious as to like any kind of programming inside. I mean, you got degrees. You were going out of your way. Like, I think some of that is internally motivated, but what if maybe it's yoga? What either about yoga or some of the programming that you experienced in facilities? Because I do think like while we might not see the end to the industrial complex as it is in my lifetime, that like certain strides moving forward, providings, offerings, like are steps along the path. And not that, you know, anyone's particularly interested in my opinion, but we're trying to find, I even think through this podcast, like what are the steps like to get us a little closer to something. Like whereas instead of originally going to maybe the first time you went to county, even if like you said you were maybe needing to be there, like maybe if anyone had some kind of more community support, mental health support, that kind of thing, like up front. So what kind of programming I feel like did you experience at any of the institutions that you were in, facilities that you were in, that like, if at all, and don't let me put words in your mouth, if it didn't change shit for you until you decided you want to change, I guess I'm kind of asking a two-parter question here. Like, did you feel like some of the programming that you experienced and the offerings and these kind of like restorative type works that we also proclaim to be supportive in county and various prisons, do you feel like that had an impact on, I don't know, this path that you've been on to getting conscious? Or at the very least, was it supportive in a way that like did something? I'm curious about your experience with it. Let me leave it at that. Can you distill that question? Can you make sense of what the fuck I'm trying to say?
Yeah, it makes sense. So all she's asking is like, throughout your journey, you clearly took advantage of the programs, and out of all of the programs and all of the institutions and all of the situations, of them, which were the most catalytic for your change and for you becoming a better person or a better version of yourself?
Yeah, that was much more articulate.
None of them.
Damn, I knew when you said it.
I thought maybe,
like that.
It wasn't. They were things that got me through. If I choose to, you know, stay in the cell and do nothing, you only gonna get nothing out of nothing. And so I always wanted to better myself, even though I would get out and start back getting high as soon as I got out. But now, since my life has changed, they have all helped me. At that time, it was just something that was getting me through. But I've used almost all of the certificates that I have to make money. I'm a certified personal trainer. I used to work for Bally's Health Club. I was there 2 months and became the general manager, the service manager. I went from making $4.50 an hour. That's what minimum wage was back then.
Oh my God. Oh man.
To
it is old man shit.
you was on me on Facebook. Yeah, to $7.50 a week, and then I also got 50% commission off anybody that signed up for personal training in the health club. Even if they came in and said I want Kyrie to train me, I still get 50% just because I'm the manager.
Big dog.
Yeah. So then of course I use the culinary arts. I've used the horticulture working for Christy Weber.
Nice.
So they all helped me. In hindsight, they helped me. Maybe not back then, but now, yeah.
And so, I think that's powerful because what that speaks to though is the idea of amount of programming. Because even with my history, briefly as a program coordinator, I find that there's always going to be more people that want to sign up for the program than the actual slots you have.
Oh yeah.
The idea then is the quantity. To magnify the amount of programming for the amount of people while incarcerated so that they have more options. Because to your point, you said everybody here kicking it, I'm going to go do this. Right. If that class or if them programs are filled, you can't.
Exactly.
And so that's what I would think that like a common theme than that is that you have the option, at least have an option for people that when they are ready to change, they have those opportunities,
Exactly. Yeah.
That's real.
All right, yeah, that was a lot better than I was getting to it. So thank you for that. Okay, so here's what, first of all, we'll say many thanks since we were running the light on this podcast, to the Lincoln Lodge for hosting us, to Christian, to Diego for filming, and for, obviously everybody listening. Put us on to your book, to your 2 businesses one more time. 2, 3. I mean, you're running a lot.
Yeah,
a couple of things.
Come on,
put us on to the last couple of things so that people walk away remembering where they can find you, how they can support and help. And we'll wrap for today. But I mean, we'll see you back.
Oh yeah, you got to come back, bro. We didn't even get a chance to do some of the stuff we got to do.
It's only for the quinoa.
Okay, well, I really appreciate you all including me and having me. Thank you very much. It's just my book. That's what I'm working on mainly. It's my book, and then we still have the Fain's Universal Silence. You can go Anthony Fain, afain0321@gmail.com, and you can also type my name in on YouTube, and you'll see some of the promotional videos that I've been doing for the book that I'm writing. And then, of course, I'm a warrior for God. I'm no longer making runs for the devil.
Amen to that.
Oh, nice, God. That was beautiful.
Yeah, that is. That's powerful.
You had 2 comics without a response.
Hey, man, all I could do is just
our whole
echo.
thing is loving to hear ourselves speak, man.
I appreciate you, brother. For a multitude of reasons, but, not just the work that you're doing, also your support of me. You always been supportive of everything I do, in and out the hood, you feel me? So it's much love. It's always going to be support on this side, bro. Can't wait to have you back, man. Appreciate you. And shout out to Q.
Yeah,
Q's doing everything. That brother is the West Side Master P. You heard it here first. That brother, he be working. And everything y'all do, you already know y'all always got my support. We're going to make the hood better. And I appreciate you for coming today, man, for real.
Thanks for having me.
Love.
Thanks, Anthony.